Today, I'm going to share with you the 7 deadly sins that kill more copywriting careers than bad grammar ever will. Master these concepts, and you'll be ahead of 90% of copywriters out there. Sin number 1, the delusion of conviction. Thinking you can force people to buy. The biggest lie in copywriting? That you can convince anyone of anything. Here's the reality. People cannot be forced to buy. They can only convince themselves. Most beginners approach copywriting like a debate, throwing facts, benefits, and logical arguments at prospects hoping to win them over. Now, this is what we call push marketing, and it's psychological abuse. Think about it. How do you feel when a pushy salesperson corners you? You resist, right? Your prospects feel the same way. The solution: instead of pushing, create an environment where people convince themselves. Your job isn't to be a prosecutor making a case. It's to be a guide helping people discover what they already. So number 2, competing on words instead of economics. Obsessing over copy while ignoring the math. Here's a shocking truth. 99% of the world's commerce doesn't rely on copywriting, yet most copywriters think the perfect headline will solve everything. Beginners spend countless hours perfecting their copy while completely ignoring the economics of their offer. They celebrate a 3% conversion rate without realizing they're leaving massive money on the table, the real game. The deepest form of competition isn't writing, it's economics. A copywriter who understands math will beat the best wordsmith every time. Focus on maximizing average order value, AOV, how much each customer spends. Lifetime value, LTV, how much they're worth over time. Remember, you can artificially inflate conversion rates by dropping your price to $1, but can you build a business that way? The economics always wins. Sin number 3, failing to hide the sales process, making it obvious you're selling. The moment someone realizes they're in a sales process, their first question becomes, how much? Once price enters their mind, everything changes. They stop listening to your message and start evaluating your sales tactics. Game over. Historical lesson. Every major marketing innovation has been about hiding the sales process. Sales letters that looked like personal letters. Video sales letters disguised as documentaries. Content marketing that educates before it sells. Your mission: make your sales process so natural, so helpful that people absorb your message without their guard up. When they finally see your offer, it should feel like the obvious next step, not a sales pitch. So number 4, selling features instead of transformation. Getting lost in big ideas and mechanisms. Too many copywriters get obsessed with finding the perfect big idea or explaining complex or mechanisms. If you need weeks of research to find your big idea, I have bad news. Your product probably isn't transformative enough. What people really buy, they don't buy features, they don't buy mechanisms, they buy outcomes and transformation. And instead of asking, what's my big idea, ask, what transformation does this create? What's the philosophy behind why this works? What outcome will my customer achieve? When you focus on philosophy over mechanisms, your copy writes itself. More importantly, you attract better customers who actually get results. So number 5, emotional mismatch. Talking to the wrong brain state. This is where most beginner copywriters crash and burn, mismatching their message to their audience's emotional state. Low emotional state audiences, feeling stuck, broke, defeated. They're stuck and want to know why they have problems. They respond to pain and problem identification. Warning: so these customers don't buy again and generate complaints. High emotional state audiences proactively improving. They're solution focused and want to know how. They're moving toward gain, not away from pain. These customers buy repeatedly and ascend to higher offers. Critical mistake: using negative personalization in ads. When you write you connected to something negative you're struggling with, you trigger their brain's safety system. Engagement plummets. Match your message to their state and everything becomes easier. Sin number 6, learning from derivative sources. Following photocopies of photocopies. The copywriting education industry is filled with regressive knowledge, people teaching systems they observed rather than created. Many gurus built their success during unique periods, like 2014 to 2021, when Facebook's Pixel made everything easy. and now teach those outdated tactics as universal truths. The problem: when you learn from derivative experts, you're getting a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy. The image gets blurrier each time. The solution: study first principles. Understand the psychology and philosophy behind why things work, not just the tactics. When you understand the why, you can adapt to any platform, any market, any change. So number 7, the customer acquisition trap. Using pain to acquire, struggling to retain. Here's a pattern that destroys businesses: using away pain language to acquire customers. Away copy focuses on escaping pain, avoiding problems, and moving away from negatives. While this can generate leads, these customers are nightmare clients. They don't buy additional offers, they complain more, they're harder to please, they don't ascend to higher value services. Towards gain customers are solution focused, growth oriented, 100 times easier to sell to repeatedly. They build your long-term business wealth. The strategic insight: customer retention is your renewable financial resource. One towards customer is worth 100 away customers over time. Now that you know these 7 deadly sins, here's how to avoid them. Master these 7 principles, and you won't just avoid the deadly sins of copywriting, you'll build a career that lasts. Remember, great copy isn't about perfect words, it's about perfect understanding. Questions and discussion welcome.